They say those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. Many events have helped to shape the Plainfield we see today, but perhaps none more pivotal than the rebellion of 1967. While there are many perspectives and opinions as to what caused the rebellion and why it gained momentum, the events leading up to the rebellion were merely the catalyst that set events in motion. But the groundwork had systematically been laid long before. Whenever a group of people feel marginalized or denied access that others have, it is sure to sow the seeds of discontent. And I must say that if someone has their foot on your neck, you must, by any means necessary, do what you must in order to remove the weight of that load that is keeping you down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that riots are the language of the unheard. He said our nation's summer of riots are caused by our nation's winter of delay. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention. So said Dr. Martin Luther King. And indeed, the Plainfield Rebellion of 1967 spoke of frustration. It was a shout to relay the message that there was disenfranchisement. It was a wake-up call that was echoed across the country in other municipalities and townships. There can be no denying that the relations between law enforcement and the community was not the same in 1967 as it is today. Back then, tensions ran high between segments of the community and the police, predominantly white police, and the Plainfield predominantly white police department. I am happy to state unequivocally that relations between our Plainfield Police Department of today and the community at large has never been better. The rebellion of 1967 was a pivotal moment for Plainfield that came at a price. The rapid relocation of several large businesses and a migration of a large segment of the population left a gap in the economic structure of the city. It is a gap that in some ways the city has never been able to fill adequately. Right here where we stand in the 4th Ward of our city are the remnants of what transpired 50 years ago. Our 4th Ward was hit harder than any other part of our city, and it has taken much longer to recover. Clearly, there is a need for greater focus and attention to this part of our city. And I pledge that my administration will continue to work on revitalizing the 4th Ward. To that end, we have several projects in the making that will lead to transformational change right here on Plainfield Avenue and in other areas of the 4th Ward. As I look around Plainfield today, I see a city which is diametrically different to the one that existed pre the 1967 rebellion. I see a city that has embraced diversity. I see a city that has begun to define itself by a standard of its making. I see a city with a police department that is extremely diverse and that bears little to no resemblance of the police department of 50 years ago. Plainfield is no longer trying to remake itself into the image of Westfield or Scotch Plains or any other surrounding town. Plainfield is making a statement. We are here. We are diverse. We are unified. We are special and we are proud. We will not be defined by those who would want to keep us in what they consider to be our place. We will rebrand our city and we will rebuild it into what we can and what we want it to be. My administration works hard every day to find resources and opportunities for our residents. We want to ensure that no one feels left out, forgotten, or overlooked. Every single person deserves a seat at the table, regardless of class, color, creed, orientation, or any other potential divisive factor. As I move around this city, I am encouraged by the fact that I see business owners of every ethnicity representing various industries. I see children of different hues playing a variety of sports. I see culture and lands around the world all existing here in a little city we call Plainfield. And I know with certainty that we are erasing the scars of the 1967 rebellion one by one. We cannot pretend that we exist in a utopia, nor can we pretend that everyone is happy all the time. However, the more dialogue we have, the more questions we ask, the more inclusive we are with our plans as we move forward, is the more we eliminate the probability of breeding discontent and fostering an environment of resentment. Beyond that, we need to build for a future which can look back on 1967, not with personal pain, but with open eyes for lessons that were learned. We want to share with our youth the stories of what happened, but paired with the corrective action that came about as a result. We want to educate them and prepare them for a future which should be free of prejudice, a future where they are guaranteed a voice and will not have to fight for it, a future which is inclusive of every man, woman, and child in equality. This is the future that we envision behind every rebellion that took place around our nation, and it is the vision we must work toward regardless of the cost. If we cannot educate and work for that future, then nothing will have been gained by the rebellion, and it is a painful lesson that will be relived over and over again. So Plainfield, 50 years later, though the scars might still be visible, I say we have learned that lesson. I say we are building a legacy that will surpass anything that we have seen before. I say that we are building a city that will be a model for future American democracy. We are building the community that was laid out in our Constitution, one which embodies liberty and justice for every single citizen. We have learned our lessons well, and armed with the memories of 50 years ago, we are ensuring that we will never have such a moment again. I am acutely aware that had it not been for the rebellion of 1967, I might not be standing here today addressing you as the mayor of our great city. That's right. That's right. So in closing, let me say this. A real democracy must always encourage free speech. A true democracy empowers the people, not deny them a voice. Genuine democracy embodies the law, free of prejudice and driven by factual justice. I am committed to continuing to serve within the tenets of democracy here in Plainfield. As I stand here with you today, drawn together to reminisce and find answers 50 years later, I understand that some scars take a lifetime to heal, but the strength of brotherhood and the quest for progress can soothe as we make this journey together. I believe in the power of Plainfield United. My doors remain open as we move Plainfield forward as one Plainfield, stronger together. May God bless every single one of you, and may God bless the city of Plainfield, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Give a round of applause.